Hello everyone, it's lovely to see you all again. Peace be with you all. This morning we're going to do another act of collective worship, and it's a story about Easter, but it involves one of our favourite characters, and that's Maximus Mouse. And if you've been looking carefully, you might have spotted Maximus sitting next to our candles by our cross. So our story starts on a perfect autumn afternoon. Maximus and his friend Patrick, they were enjoying the sunshine as they sat on a stone in the churchyard. Flying above them were several butterflies, their wings catching and glinting in the sunlight. Suddenly Maximus started to wriggle a little bit. "You got an itch, Maximus?" said Patrick, laughing. There's something in my fur on my back," said Maximus. "I can't quite reach it." He squirmed again. Patrick bent over and had a look. "Oh, it's a little caterpillar," he said, Patrick. "A little green caterpillar. Poor thing, must think it's an enormous hairy jungle." He very gently took the caterpillar from Maximus's fur and put it down on the stone. The mice laughed as it hunched its back and crawled away as quickly as it could. "They're amazing things, caterpillars and butterflies," said Patrick. "I mean, you and I, we grew inside our mum's tummies, and then we were born into a nice warm nest. But with butterflies, it's really different." "Look," said Maximus. He pointed to a bush that grew by the churchyard wall. "I've just seen some butterflies land on that. Wonder what they're doing." The mice scampered over and they looked closely at the bush. It was full of furry caterpillars. Lots and lots and lots of them, far too many to count, all chewing away at the leaves. And as well as the caterpillars, there were some tiny eggs laid by the butterflies. They were hanging down from some of the smaller stems of the bush. As they watched, one of the eggs opened and a tiny, tiny caterpillar wriggled out. "That's amazing," said Patrick. "Really amazing." "What happens now?" said Maximus. "I mean, it's going to be winter soon. Won't they all just die?" "I don't think so," said Patrick. "For the next few weeks they will eat as many leaves as they can, and they'll grow much bigger, and they'll turn into pupae." "You know what?" said Maximus. "Pupae, it's a bit like you snuggling down under your duvet so that no one knows there's a mouse under it. The caterpillar lives inside this sort of big sleeping bag for weeks and weeks and weeks, all the way through the winter. You might have heard another word for pupa is chrysalis." Maximus looked puzzled. "And it stays there for all of the winter?" "Yes," said Patrick, "some will do that. Anyway, come on, it's time we went home." Well, the weather turned cold as the winter came. It was wet, it was windy, it was snowy, and Maximus and Patrick didn't get to go out into the graveyard very often to play. Then one day, in the vestry of the church, Maximus was looking for something to eat by the dried flowers in the vase on the windowsill. Hanging from one of the dried flowers was something. It was brown, and it looked a bit like a very, very, very tiny mouse's sock. It looked very dead and very uninteresting. He reached up to pull it off the stem when Patrick came in. "Don't do that," said his friend. "That's what we were talking about, remember, weeks ago. That's a chrysalis. There's a butterfly in there waiting to come out when the weather's better." Maximus looked at the small, brown, sock-shaped thing. He looked very closely. "That's a load of rubbish," he said. "Pull the other paw. That's dead. There's nothing alive in there." Well, if you don't believe me, watch what happens. Time went on. The winter passed, and the days began to grow longer and lighter again. Every day, Maximus went to the vase of dried flowers, and he kept an eye on the tiny little brown sock. But nothing happened. He put his ear very close to it and listened carefully, but couldn't hear anything. He tapped it, and nothing happened. He said. "It's dead. I told you it was dead. There's nothing in there. Nothing's going to happen." on Easter Sunday. The mice went to the family service in the church. There were lots of people there singing hymns about Jesus coming back to life again. A very happy Easter to you all, said the vicar. And to you too, squeaked all the mouselings politely. Today, said the vicar, is a wonderful day. It's the day that Jesus was seen alive again by some of his friends. I wonder how they felt. They knew that on the day we call Good Friday, Jesus had died on the cross. They knew he had been buried in a grave. They must have been terribly sad and unhappy, think they would never ever see him again. Of course, not everyone believed that he was alive again. One of Jesus' friends called Thomas said, I won't believe it until I see Jesus for myself. And very soon afterwards, he did see Jesus and he did believe. After the service, Maximus invited Patrick and the mouselings back to his hole in the vestry. I've got a surprise for you, he told the mouselings. The mouselings followed Maximus into the vestry and he gave each one a tiny chocolate Easter egg. Patrick touched his friend on the shoulder. I've got a surprise for you too, he said. Look over there. Patrick pointed to the windowsill. There, in the warm sun, was the most beautiful butterfly that Maximus had ever seen. He rushed over to where the chrysalis had been hanging. It was cracked and open and empty. What had seemed dead had come alive again. That's just amazing, said Maximus. Absolutely amazing. Happy Easter, everyone. Our story today, Maximus learned that what appeared to be dead and appeared to have nothing in had life inside. Just like Christians believe that when Jesus died and was placed in the tomb, they thought it was the end of everything. And yet on Easter Sunday, the entrance to the tomb was cracked, the stone across the front was cracked, and the tomb was empty, and Jesus was alive again. Put your hands together if you want to join in with the prayer, and close your eyes. Dear God, life is amazing. At this time of year, we see how seeds sprout and grow and become plants, trees and flowers. We know how babies grow month by month in their mum's tummy. But that spark of life, where does that come from? That's the great mystery. If God is the one who gives life, then God is life. And at this time of year, at Easter, we say thank you for Jesus rising from the dead again. Amen. So your challenge this week, your job is, when you go out into your garden, look for signs of new life. Whether it's the insects or bees flying around, or whether the flowers and buds starting to burst open, or whether it's the new leaves on the tree. Go and have a look at this time of year and see all the amazing things that's happening, all the wonderful new life that comes at this time of year. And that's why we have eggs at Easter, because eggs are a sign of new life. I know some of you have been looking at baby chickens in school and how those eggs, when they crack open, there is a baby chick inside that comes out and grows that new life inside the egg. So when you open your Easter eggs on Sunday, you can think about that new life. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.